Welcome to Verbal Peak Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Look, I'm through. I'm through. And let me tell you what I'm through about. You know, something is wrong, right? Something is wrong with the narrative. Something is wrong with how we as a people, and I'm talking about black people in particular, and when I say black people, I'm talking about indigenous people, people of color, right? Something is wrong in the way that we defend ourselves when we're targeted. Something is wrong with the way we deal with issues in regarding our culture, our sovereignty, our status, and who we are as a people. Something is wrong when others can make statements that's detrimental to the evolvement and education of black people, where they're telling you we're standing in the way of you learning about your history and knowledge of who you are, because your plight and your Holocaust, your terror, your slave past is not enough to make others feel bad about what their ancestors did to you. So we just throw it away. And we let that ride. Something is wrong when a black person can say, well, I'm Jew and you're an antisemite, without any proof to the contrary, but yet they are blackballed, made to resign. Deals and their business is snatched away from them from statements that they researched and learned. And if someone was to say, look, we don't want you teaching the history of the Holocaust because we feel like that will wake up even more Jewish people to learn about what happened to them and their ancestors, we're just not dealing with it, so we'll label it as wokeism, and it's not being taught in class. As a matter of fact, some of the terminology that was used to describe the horrors of the Holocaust, we'll take that language out of the school books for the children. What is going on? You got Ron DeSantis, who comes out in the public eye and makes a horrific statement where he says Florida is the state where wokeism will die. Wait, what? You're saying that the truth now, not fiction, but a subject matter that's teaching the horrors of slavery, where people are waking up to knowledge, it's labeled wokeism, and you want to kill it? See, this is, I know it sounds like a broken record, but 400 years of not being able to read or write, knowledge hid, knowledge not taught, and now there's avenues to seek that information, and people are waking up feeling good about themselves and dispelling the myths and getting rid of the lies and finding out what's factual and what's truth, and you call it a bad thing? Being woke is actually good, but it's so clever to make people think that it's a bad thing. What type of society are we actually living in? Because this is the game, right? And it's not a trick. This is a game. So, black people, indigenous people, brown people, some will always see in their minds minorities or people of color as the burden bearers of society. But then the people of color see themselves out of the greatness of their history and their ancestors. Right? So in their mind, they are striving to... I'm just actually shocked. It's like, what is actually going on? So, what do one do? Do you say, oh, they don't want me learning about my history? Wokeism. They don't want me saying that black people are the original Jews, and how can a black person be anti-Semitic when black people are Semites? How can we say, well, the Hebrew language was written before any European came out of Europe? We have to research all of these things to see if it is fact. But if so, are they saying, look, black people, it may be true, but you don't have the right to say it? Then wait, what are you saying? We don't see ourselves as slaves. Now, do they see us as still slaves? And that's why they making certain rules and saying certain things and forbidding certain things to be said? If so, then now we got to stand. Well, now we have a problem. I was getting ready to say now we had a Mexican standoff, but then people might take that to be, hey man, you don't want to cross the line. I'm just saying, that's just a saying. But what are we doing? Right? This is 2022. You can't mentally or physically put a people back in chains, or it's not happening. So somebody's missing the memo. Somebody is thinking that they're more important than they actually is, or someone is seeing themselves as superior, but actually they're not. So this election, which the Dems did good. I mean, as far as what they anticipated of a red wave coming, that actually didn't happen. But where do we go from here? It's ridiculous how lopsided history is for one versus how history is for the other. It's ridiculous how DeSantis can even come out and say that wokeism will die, because that's interpreted as knowledge of history pertaining to black people needs to die. What? Why? Right? That's the flip side of it. They always say, oh, no wokeism, kill wokeism, wokeism must die. They never say the reason being. Some will say, well, because it makes white kids feel bad about what their grandparents did to black people, or their grandparents, great-grandparents did to black people before slavery. So it shouldn't be taught because they shouldn't feel bad about it. You think that the Jewish people worried about how bad German children feel when they teaching about the Holocaust? You think the Jewish people worried about how bad white kids in America feel about their grandparents and great-grandparents who were skinheads and Nazis and who targeted and attacked Jews when they teach that history? So, yeah, I believe it's time, though. It's time. It's time for black people to have their own media, own publication, and conduct their business within each other, so you don't have to worry about every time you make a move, someone is putting stipulations on you. Vopic Radio, we're out.